The best horror movies are the ones that stay with you long after you leave the cinema. The ones where you keep looking over your shoulder because you have the fear of being watched. And when you finally arrive home, you run into your house and fumble to unlock your door quickly enough because someone might have followed you, and they are going to grab you from behind. Once inside, you check all the cupboards in the house and under the beds just in case, because that someone or something might just be waiting for you in the shadows, waiting for you to go to sleep. And yet, we deliberately seek out these movies, trying to find new ones that are even scarier than the last. Of course, the fear felt while watching a horror film is very subjective and is going to be different for every one of us. In saying that, these 5 are pretty terrifying, and we challenge you all to watch these 5 this month, in the complete pitch black by yourself. Just a warning, there will be some spoilers in this video. Hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy. The original A Nightmare on Elm Street. Sleep is one of the basic needs for all humans, with the body at its most relaxed and reduced ability to respond to any external influence. Could we be any more vulnerable? Director Wes Craven took advantage of this helplessness when he wrote and directed Elm Street in 1984. And what could be scarier than a sadistic child serial killer, Freddy Krueger? Set in a picket-fenced suburb of Ohio, the film is a reminder that even when you are comfortable in your own home, safe, warm, and snuggled down in bed, horror and death are just a dream away. The movie opens with a disfigured Krueger constructing his now iconic bladed glove. He stalks a terrified teenager named Tina through some sort of industrial building where the lines between dream and reality are blurred. Tina awakens from her nightmare only to find slash marks on the front of her nightdress. How is it possible that what happened in her dream has become a reality? For reasons that later become clear, Krueger continues to hunt down Tina and her best friend Nancy throughout the film by invading their dreams. And Craven provides us with some genius horror moments, such as the surreal scene where Krueger's arm becomes impossibly long, or when Nancy tries to escape by running upstairs, but the ground beneath her turns to quicksand, and there is no escape. And who could forget Freddy's gloved hand appearing between Nancy's legs as she falls asleep in the bath? From Krueger's heavy breathing and cackling laugh, you just know that the torture and murdering of children is what makes him happy. Throughout the film, the Freddy Krueger skipping rope song can be heard, a parody of 1, 2, Buckle My Shoe. And there is nothing creepier than the chanting of those innocent little girls, especially when you consider that they are previous victims of the chilling Krueger. It's a shame that so many sequels and a TV series have diluted the impact of Krueger over the years, turning him into a cartoon-like character. Nevertheless, A Nightmare on Elm Street still has the power to unnerve and shock when watching late at night in the dark, and Wes Craven smashed the boundaries of what was real and what was imaginary in slasher horror. Don't Look Now. Made in 1973 by the English director Nicholas Roeg, the film script was adapted from a short story. It is renowned for its notorious sex scene, but in Don't Look Now, nothing is gracious and every harrowing shot propels the movie forward to its inevitable climax. It tells the story of John and Laura Baxter, played by Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, who are a married couple with 2 children, and the on-screen chemistry between the actors is legendary. At the beginning of the movie, their daughter Christine is accidentally killed. The couple then travel to Venice, where John, who is an art historian, has been commissioned to restore an ancient Venetian church. Combined with this, the appearance of 2 particularly creepy sisters, one of whom is blind yet impressively psychic, and a rash of grisly serial killings, and you have the perfect combination for a horror classic. Another character in the movie is the magnificent city of Venice herself in all her winter glory. But empty of tourists, it is not a Venice of picturesque views, but rather labyrinth streets and canals. The cold colours of grey and blues and the reflections in the pitch black water all help to create a claustrophobic atmosphere of confusion. The movie is beautifully shot and cleverly edited, with recurring motifs of the colour red, reflections on water and shattered glass throughout the film, acting like portents of the terror yet to come. Haunted by the ghost of his dead daughter, John somehow believes that her death may be somehow linked to the spat of murders, while Laura is finding it hard to cope with her all-consuming grief. The sisters become weirder, and all the while, there is a pervasive sense of dread when nothing is ever what it seems. It's a psychological delve into the horror of grief and the supernatural, and despite the shock ending, it's a unique movie made for an audience that prefers subtle things that can make your flesh creep, rather than the cliché slasher movies of gore and jump scares. Hereditary. The story opens as the character of Annie Graham, played by Toni Collette, is giving a eulogy for her 78-year-old mother, Ellen Taper Lee, who has passed away at Annie's home. Annie lives with her husband Steve and their 2 children, daughter Charlie and oldest son Peter, in a remote house, and she begins to notice that something is not quite right in the family home. There is some kind of disturbing presence in the house. We begin to learn that the family's mysterious history is steeped in tragedy, and like the Graham family, we feel as an audience that they are being manipulated by some unseen force, and we watch their mental health unravel as more and more terrifying family secrets are uncovered, and emotions spiral to their breaking point. All of the horror cliches are here: ghosts, seances, and creepy attic and creaking corridors. But somehow, they do not feel tired or unoriginal, because new director, Ari Aster, is clever in allowing the audience to use their own imagination. Aster knows that what you do not see is actually scarier than what is right in front of your eyes, and there are so many of these shadow moments during Hereditary. The movie assaults the senses with disturbing sounds and visual images, so that you feel on edge throughout the film, and on several occasions you expect to get a jump scare that will hopefully relieve the tension, but a lot of the time that just doesn't happen. At one point, a terrified Peter utters the line, "I don't like this," and we all know exactly how he felt. That was the same way you'll feel throughout the film. It just feels wrong, right from the outset, but you cannot seem to put your finger on the reason why. Hereditary is a deeply unsettling psychological thriller, an ominous and spooky ghost story, and a petrifying horror film all rolled into one. Alien. Crossing 2 movie genres, and directed by the legend that is Ridley Scott, Alien is not only one of the best science fiction films ever created, but it's also one of the scariest horror movies as well. The commercial spaceship, Nostromo, is returning to Earth with its crew of 7, who are in deep sleep status. Mother, the ship's computer, has detected a distress call from a nearby moon, LV-426. Company policy means that the signal has to be investigated, so Mother wakes the crew. Is it a distress call or a warning? The Nostromo suffers damage in the moon landing, so as the ship is being repaired, the captain and 2 other crew members set out to investigate the source of the signal. They discover a derelict alien craft and a room full of eggs. What follows is a masterclass of tension building as the clever pacing goes from a slow and oppressive start to a frenzied climax as the crew fight for their lives. You can almost feel the sweat as the panic-stricken crew try to navigate the dark, claustrophobic corridors and suffocating air ducts in their attempt to escape the ever-approaching monster. In Warrant Officer Ellen Ripley, we are presented with one of the best female characters to ever appear on film. A real flesh and blood woman, that flawed Ripley is super smart, strong, determined and resourceful. At the time, it was a bold move by Scott to cast a woman in such a heroic role, but it made the actress a star and opened up the door for other female actors to follow. It's easy to see why the movie won an Oscar for its special effects when you consider that the designs of both the alien and the sets came from the macabre imagination of designer Hans Giger. The stunning sets are minimal, presenting no distractions from the gripping story and ongoing threat. The parasitic alien is hideous, yet somehow strangely human-like, described at one point as the perfect organism, unclouded by consciousness, remorse, or delusions of morality. It is a merciless killing machine, repulsive and eyeless. It is often shown hidden in the shadows, stalking its human prey, and this only ramps up the tension. It's hard to believe that Alien is 40 years old, and it hasn't lost any of its edge to scare. It's a horrifying delve into the cold, dark isolation of deep space, where no one can hear you scream. Suspiria. Right from the opening scene, there is something unsettling about Suspiria. The screen is overwhelmed with the primary colours of red and green, which dominate the movie every time there is a threat of danger, evoking feelings of distress and an ever-growing madness. As our protagonist leaves the stylized airport, the weather is biblical, with crashing thunder, howling wind, and torrential rain, the tinkling music like some sort of unnatural lullaby. We are being plunged headlong into a masterpiece of horror that is based in a twisted world deliberately detached from reality. Suspiria was released in 1977 by acclaimed horror director Dario Argento. It tells the story of an American ballet dancer named Susie who is given a chance to attend a well-respected dance academy in Germany, only to be caught up in a nightmare mystery involving witchcraft and the occult. Most horror films make use of dark brooding sets using few colours, but the director chose to do the opposite and process the movie in Technicolor, producing a movie with intense and vivid hues of red, pink, blue and purple. Whilst the use of Technicolor is blatant, the anxiety is heightened by the more subtle musical score, which was written and performed by the rock group Goblin. The music is always there, crawling beneath your skin, causing feelings of unease, before it rings out with strident terror and witch-like screeching that intensifies the shocking sights shown on screen. And the cinematography ignores all of the rules, using abnormal camera angles that allow rooms to become claustrophobic, walls to become impossibly high, and doorways to become intimidating. Together, the music and colour only achieve to intensify the horror, and make the viewer believe that something horrific could happen at any moment, while slowly drip-feeding the audience with clues as to the reason for all the murder and madness. Everything here is detached from reality, the intense colours unseen by the characters, making the viewer a voyeur to the danger that is prowling around the school. There is nothing restrained about Suspiria. It is an onslaught for the senses. A beautiful film, blood-drenched and terrific in its violence, yet dreamlike in its use of unexpected camera work and colour. The result is a cinematic masterpiece that feels like a surreal waking nightmare. We believe that any of these films would be a perfect watch for Halloween, either alone or with a group of friends, but just remember before you turn out the lights that you need to check in the cupboards and under the bed, because you never know who or what might be waiting for the darkness, so that they can come out to play. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.